Hello, hello.
Hi there.
Hi, Ronnie. What a pleasure
It's
to
for me.
be
So we
here.
finally meet.
Hello. And how many people have we met throughout the years in our lives? That is now the time to reconnect.
Amazing, amazing. And I said there's certain people you meet and you bond, and it doesn't matter if you don't see them for a while. It's there. It's this, there's a special chemistry there. And I found this with you when I first met you. And I knew that one day we're going to do something together. And it was just the knowingness.
Exactly. And how was that like over 10 years ago or something? Sometimes you meet people a week ago and you don't remember them, or 2 weeks ago or a month ago and you don't remember them. Or
Yeah,
you have to reconnect with them when you meet up again. But
exactly.
it seems like yesterday.
It does. Was it really 10 years? Oh my God.
I think so. Both in Paris together, and I still have those flashes of us in the restaurant and
I was just going to say that beautiful restaurant just opposite the venue, I think it was.
Exactly, of the book shop.
Yeah.
We're doing some workshops down there with. They had my 7 Steps to Flawless Communication book, and I was working there. And we
Yeah.
may not be connected any longer with them.
I don't think we have been. It was meant for that. It was
Exactly,
meant for that.
exactly,
Uh,
exactly. So yeah, what is it that shows up in
yeah.
your life, right? That may not be the title for which it shows up.
And we
But
can't always explain it. I went to do my gym today, and I had a brand new teacher there, and she said, "Just so you know, I don't believe in God. I'm an atheist. I believe in science." I said, "You're going to come round to my end at some point because you're not going to be able to explain it. There is something beyond that. You can't explain it. And I think because you can't explain it, there is a creator, because I can't stick him in here, you know.
exactly.
Yeah,
It's interesting. Someone said if don't believe in God, Allah, Buddha, Shiva, Shiva, Shivam, but or the angels and the stars and the moon up above, and then when you actually, go out of your body or what we call die, and you
right.
go up to heaven, you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that this existed. So, and if you
Yeah,
do, and if it's not there, it's like, oh well, that was a great contribution to my life, being part of that,
yeah.
beyond. It's
We
interesting.
had a famous author in Israel, and he claimed that he didn't believe in God because of what happened in the Holocaust. But he would always say, "I don't believe in God. I'm angry with him." And I said, "Then who exactly are you angry with?"
And so the invitation really we're doing here together
Yeah,
online and hopefully together physically at
yeah,
some point. And what the invitation of this, conversation together
yeah,
is,
yeah. I
right?
think our topic was letting go of the doubt. And I think that I'd like to take it to the place of this total trust in God, where you totally surrender, and you don't have a doubt. Because the moment you have a doubt, you're back in the mind ego. But if you really go in that stream and you don't have doubts, then you're actually relieved of all the hardships, because the hardships exist within us, and you're actually flowing. And yes, there are things that you can do that are up to you, which is our state of being, but all the rest, you end up understanding it's got nothing, you can't do anything about it. It's happening anyway.
The flow is something that is so, I love that because I do often the energy flows because when we are blocking, right, like not connecting or not believing in something or someone, we're putting up barriers, walls
Yes.
in around us so that certain things and people don't actually come in, but also that when we do that, that we actually don't get out there in a
Right.
certain way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And I think it comes out of fear of the unknown. So we block things ahead of time so that we don't have to deal with what our imagination is telling us that it might be, and then we miss out on what might be. Because if my premise is that God only wants good for me, whatever I'm going through, he wants good for me, then if I start with that, then I can have to be fearless. I have to be doubtless. And I have to trust completely that he's taking me through something to get to a better place. So it's like, how do you call when you're shooting an arrow, bow and arrow? It's like sometimes he takes you right back to fly you further away.
Fly me to the moon.
It's, oh God, and you've got
Yeah.
such a voice.
Thank you, thank you. I know I'm a little musicaholic, but playing with the music and really not sure this is something to say. I remember when I was before I was a teenager, and I was born in the USA and living in Boston,
Yeah,
and then living in New York from 18 onwards. And now, of course, I'm in Rome, Italy. So that's how we met, right?
yeah,
But I remember that I was actually, with spirituality, and energetically, and so I would always say the universe, and my
yeah,
cousins and everyone would always say God or
yeah.
Jesus,
Right.
and I never would say that, and so we weren't so connected. But
Uh-huh.
is then at a certain point I realized, hey, we're talking about the same thing.
It's one and the same. It's just a different name.
Hello, we're
Yeah.
talking about the same thing. So the moment I would say, whatever I was sharing with them and say God or Jesus, our our connection
Mm.
completely changed. So
Yeah.
what is the communication,
Mm. Mm.
right?
Bonds
The
through the energy. It bonds through the energy. If we're all one, I mean, I always say if you took off all the bodies on Earth, you'd be left with one energy. It's like looking at, if you break a thermometer, and the mercury turns into tiny little balls, but then when you collect them, it becomes one ball, and it's the same with water drops. You put all of them in one glass, it's the same. And energetically, we are one, but we are separated in bodies, and we've each become our own personalities, but we all have an ego mind, or we relate to one which tries to dictate who we are. And the moment that happens, it becomes another God, and we've just separated instead of bonding. And I think the terminology doesn't really matter. I also think my take on Jesus, because he also appears we're Jewish, and he appears in our Bible. He's the son of Joseph. He appears as the son of Joseph, the Messiah, the son of Joseph, and then there's a Messiah, the son of David. And it's actually like it's a system. It's not necessarily a person. It's a system. So when it says that Jesus takes your sins away, if you look at what's happening right now, because they say this is the term, this is the time of that. If you look at what's happening right now, that everything is sithering, and then this system is going to collect all that to cleanse it so that we can go up to what we know today as the fifth dimension, back to Eden, back to being bonded. So I think people get stuck on the person rather than understanding it's just another outlet of God, of the creator. He has several. He's got Gabriel, he's got Michael, the archangels. They don't have a choice. Humans have choices. The angels don't. They have to do what God tells them to do because they're part of him. So they've each got a role to play, but it's all God in the end.
Absolutely. And God for me is not just about him or
Mm.
her.
It's
It,
all of us.
it's a being.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yes, it's really just a being of a vibration. And so
Yeah.
the more that we're connected with ourselves, and I love that what you were saying that, and I say it in a different way, and how many different ways do people say
Yeah.
verbally, actually, what is the same thing, you know? So that who we are, there's so much more. This is my seven steps phrase. There's so much more that
Right.
unites us
Right.
than separates us. And I love that you were saying that. And
Mm.
also that there's no one, since we've chosen to come into bodies,
Yes.
right? And
Mhm.
90%, sometimes 99% is the same, right?
Mhm.
Most people do have eyes and ears and nose and lips and fingers, and some people
Yeah.
may be missing some of that, but that would only be like 10% less.
Yeah.
Even the colors, you know what I mean, and all that,
And
no
yet
matter.
they don't share the same fingerprint. Billions of
Yeah,
people.
yeah. But
Incredible.
like you said, it's the vibration, the physical body is one thing, but the
Yeah.
vibration of who we are, the energetic vibration of who we are is when we're willing to actually connect with that and also allow, just like you were saying too, be connected with our body and allow the contribution that we can be, then
Yeah.
such a joy actually to
Yeah.
connect with others, right?
I think the body is a dance. One minute I'm dancing as a brown person, another as a white person, because we reincarnate all the time. And I could never have empathy if I didn't reincarnate from that. The empathy comes along because we've all experienced each other at some point. And one of the things that I know and what I teach is that if I have pain, I inflicted that pain on somebody at some point, either in this lifetime or the past lifetime. There can't be a pain that I hold that I didn't inflict on somebody else because we're all intertwined. And that brings me to forgiveness for me and for the other so that we can connect. And I think forgiveness is the bridge that once you go through that, then you can bond. But if you're busy blaming and saying, "Oh no, that's because of you and that's because of you," then you run away from your truth. The truth is that it's not because of anyone. It's
And
all mine. It's all
there's
my.
so much to share also, because a lot of times when there is something going on physically inside of you, right? It
Mhm.
may be that the capacity you have to heal others is that you've taken it out of their body and put it into yours. And, centuries ago, we could do
Right.
that and it was a lot easier for us to then let it go. But
Yeah.
now with the bodies and the way that the planet is and stuff like that, it's better not to take something out of someone else's body and put it into your body. So it's
No.
not just that we throw it to people, it's who is willing to take it in.
Take it
But you
in.
don't have to take it in. Be the invitation. And this is just what we talk about and what we share and what we do the coaching on. Just to be the invitation to recognize, what is it that's showing up for you
Mhm.
and your body, right?
Yeah.
That may have to do with someone or something else. And what is it that's showing up in their body? They may be ill or something, I do treatments and stuff like that. But what is showing up in their body that they're not actually in this moment willing
Mhm.
to let go of?
Right. But I'd like to take it a bit further because we're speaking a spiritual talk and we do include reincarnation and past lives and whatever. I think that in this era that we are now experiencing, excuse me, which is a completely different era to anything we've ever known, because everything is coming to to
Mm.
it's
Are you taking my coughing away from me?
I don't know. um obviously my body wants to clear something. Um, But I believe today that everybody around us are the same souls that traveled with us throughout time and eternity, and they are now our triggers to help us cleanse. So instead of me saying, "You did this to me," I will say, "Thank you for showing me that I have this pain in me that's coming up as a result of you doing what you're doing." And now I can look inside and on two levels. The first thing I can see that there's an energy field here that I don't even have to name. There's literally an energy field here, and I can feel it till it dissipates. And the other thing I would look at is he annoyed me. He's got a trait that annoys me. Where do I hold that trait in me? And then once I find it in me, I can release him from the role. And I can now release myself from using that trait because I'm the projector to the world. As long as I'm holding on to something, I'm going to see it out there on a much wider scale. And in Hebrew we say, "Kegodel haneshama, godel hashiur." It means the bigger the soul, the capacity of the soul to collect the lessons, the bigger the lesson. So I might see something huge in front of me, and it'll hide inside me. So for example, my second husband was very sarcastic and cynical, and I said, "No, I don't have that. Impossible." And it was huge. And I thought, I don't understand. When we divorced, there was a tiny little thing. I was sitting quietly zapping on the TV. Somebody said something, and I automatically said, "Yeah, sure." And while I was going, "Yeah, sure," I said, "Oh, so you wouldn't know because I have a poker face." But inside me, I realized I could be sarcastic and cynical. And I said, I don't want to be that person anymore. Otherwise, I'm going to keep attracting it. And I had to literally let go of me being that. And it stopped on the outside, never met it again. So I think there's nothing outside of us. And if we all understood that, and something that you teach as well, that if there's nothing outside of me, I just have to fix me. I don't have to fix anything else. I fix me, I fix the world, you know. And
Absolutely. And fix, we can say it's a fix or actually acknowledge, contribute. I always talk about the communication, and people try so often, just like you're saying, to communicate with others in a good way, in a bad way, in the right way, in the wrong way, right? But first, just like you were saying, and I love that, if you're communicating, connecting, acknowledging, right? Healing, letting go of something that's going on with you,
Mhm.
releasing it, expanding it, different ways so that we can say it, different ways we play with that,
Yeah,
then when you see that, perceive it in others and around the world, you know that, wow, it is all around the world.
yeah.
And we can not have to take it away or reject it.
Mhm.
Can just be the invitation without any judgment about it
Mhm.
for them to see it in a different way as well. And that's just their choice in these
Yeah.
10 seconds, right? And that's just their choice, how they actually go about it. But first, connecting with you
Mhm. But
is
I will also say, who are they? Is there a world outside me? Because at the end of the day, it's still my perception of the world.
not outside of you as the infinite being, the spirit, etc. But
Yeah.
there are people who, like you said, disconnect,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
they're not they're there and present. However, you don't have to force them
No.
to
But they're still there in the way they are for me to see something. So it's not
absolutely
that they're not,
recognize it and say,
yeah,
I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. You know that expression, right? I've
exactly.
been there, done that, got the t-shirt. So it's not a judgment about them.
Yeah.
Oh, when someone says something, you know
It's a
that,
recognition.
yeah, a recognition that, listen, and if you would like some change, and anyone that can, maybe we can share this also, this the conversation, because anyone who would like to explore some change, whether it
Right.
be in relationships and health, whether it be in business and money, whether it be in enjoying life, whether it be in dancing. I love that she was talking about dancing, whether it be in singing, whatever it is,
Yeah.
be totally connected with you
I,
and go beyond
mm.
your
And I
wildest
think you need
imagination.
something though. For me, I can say that what helps me is what we've called the universe, and I call creator, God. For me, it really the knowledge that there is that knows me before I know me helps me in the surrender of things that I can't control. And I'm really only left with dealing with what I can control. And that is my demeanor, and that is my being. my state of being. That's the only thing I'm in charge of, because I can decide life is going to happen. It happens us anyway. Opens our eyes, beats our heart, fills our lungs, and then we've got to live this. And this is someday just going to go, and I always remember my grandfather was having a cup of coffee with my grandmother, and he took a sip and he was gone. And my grandmother says, Izzy, why aren't you answering me? And he just left.
Left
And
the body?
he left the body. And
Yeah.
I thought,
It's a
wow.
time, it's a time of the not just of the year, but of the world, the planet, where people are choosing to leave.
Mm,
And it's not a wrongness. If they choose to leave, we can be the invitation for
mm.
people to choose to stay, um, but
But
they
what if
don't
it
have to
wasn't
choose to
a choice?
stay.
What if it wasn't a choice? Maybe, what if that part was that bigger thing? Maybe there is something that is preordained, which is the entrance and our leaving, and we've got to live the middle. What if there was something bigger than me that said, your time's up, got to go, and that's it? Because, in my first out of body experience when I drowned as a child, there were two major understandings that I had as a result. One is that the soul lives forever because I was out of the body. I was looking at the body and I was looking at everybody else and I was out there. But the second one was that if you're supposed to leave your body, you're not going to suffer. So if you're going to see, say, a lion attacking a zebra, and the zebra is supposed to leave, it won't feel the suffering. We'll be watching and we'll think, oh, the poor zebra, but it already left. If it's supposed to stay in the body, it'll suffer. And that was a huge revelation to me. And in that moment, I understood something for me very fundamentally that I'm not in control of my leaving, that there is a date and time that I come in, and there's a date and time that I leave, and the rest is up to me. How I live the middle part of that is up to me. That's the free choice I was given. And I don't question, when we talk about having no doubts, I've stopped questioning why, because I'll never understand it. And I don't want it to drive me crazy. So I want to get up in the morning and live today. And the minute I start asking why, I just run away from living because I don't have the answer. And admitting that I don't know for me is freedom. It just leaves me in a space where, okay, so I don't have to know. If he wants to reveal it to me, I will know. If he doesn't, fine, I can live with that. so,
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
so I'm just wondering if it is our choice or is it something bigger than us? Because I do believe life happens to us. And
However, you did say that
yeah.
we are part of the world and the universe. So
Mm,
what can possibly be bigger than us if we're part of the universe, right? So a lot of times when we start, like we were saying before, reducing ourselves, then yes, we may feel like, oh, we have to go. But there's sometimes are some changes, who or what can show up that actually may be an invitation
mm,
for more. And I've had a as a child, I had a lot of invisible friends,
right.
even, playing with them that had been with me at other times, but that didn't who didn't choose to come back.
Mm,
And so, you know, I love that playing with what is
mm,
your desire and approach
mm,
to your spirit, your
mm.
infinite being, your time here on planet Earth, right? Your
Yeah.
body, relationships, fun and movement. And what's the change?
So what if there's an element that, because when we say what's showing up, um, I believe there's this mind ego, which I call the duo, that the ego and the mind are very, very good friends. The ego wants something, the mind supplies the data, but it can only give data that has nothing to do with the now or tomorrow because it can't know the now or tomorrow. That's the unknown. That's something in the realm of God. God knows the unknown because he wrote the
Right.
whole. So when I say it is us, we're partners with God as long as we're choosing to go walk hand in hand with him, doubtless, with no doubts, because the minute I go to the mind ego, I've already left him. I've left the universe because I'm in a space and time that has nothing to do with now.
Yeah,
And
or just blocked because you can never leave. You can
exactly.
never leave God. So you just block,
But you
just
don't know,
blocking
you
something
don't
and not
feel
recognizing it and not
exactly.
recognizing it.
You're not
So what's
recognized.
the invitation that we
Yeah.
could be for people to not put up those walls and barriers, block their zones,
Mhm.
so that being here in this period on planet Earth is a contribution
Mhm.
to the world, the people on the planet, God, the sun, the moon, the skies. It's a contribution to us.
I love that.
So,
I
yeah,
love that. And I'll tell you why I love that word contribution, because I don't think we are created just to move around all day. I think we're created in order to contribute. And I think that we have to first understand and learn the difference between being here and now with the creator and who the mind ego is that hijacks us all the time. It starts a sentence with I and we believe it's I, but it isn't. And it'll say, oh, I'm
right. I
not,
think this is the eye.
yeah. It'll say, I'm not feeling well. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have. But it's not me. It's not my essence. There's this thing talking to itself all the time. And the problem doesn't start with the thought. It starts if I believe the thought. Then I'm going right downhill. And I always say to people that the body, at the end of the day, when we're buried, the brain is buried, it's flesh, just like the rest of the body. You can't bury the mind and the ego. It's going to continue. So if it pushed you off the hill, it's going to go and push somebody else off the hill now.
Absolutely. And often people, when they are not connected with themselves, right? They may be in a coma and, in a hospital. And
Right.
so many of the family and things have to come there and they don't actually change. It's just there all the time. They always have to come, but they're not actually, as the spirit, as the being, present with that body. So being the invitation for people to be present with the body, they can either choose to go, maybe like you said, it's their date, or they can choose to actually reactivate themselves. And so many ways to be the invitation for that, so that people are not disconnecting from themselves, from their bodies, while they're still physically present here. And
Mhm.
that is a gift. That
Yes.
is a gift to the family, the friends, the world, and to the future. So
Right.
what is the future? And I love the vibration. And when I don't know if it shows up for you, but it's just such a lovely movement in the body. We
It
said, what
does.
is the future that we would really enjoy as we are being
I
here,
think it starts now because,
physically present on
yeah,
planet Earth?
yeah, because I can't experience tomorrow and I can't experience yesterday unless I'm here. So if I have a memory of yesterday, I'm still experiencing it now. So if I want the future that I'm talking about or that I want, I have to experience it already in the now. And
Absolutely.
it has
Absolutely. And not to be blocked down like this, to
to,
really, I do a lot of that expanding your zone so that you
yeah,
can actually, yes, you see the past, yes, you perceive the future, but you're actually here physically present and just expanding that from right to left, front to back, up to
mm,
God,
you know,
down to the planet, and pulling all that up to you. So I would
and
love to play together because we don't have to say it in the same way. It didn't have to, but just to be the invitation for whatever works for people, really.
exactly.
And that would be a gift, not only to us, but also to them and to the world.
And for them to be the gift, because they are.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yeah.
I was just going to say that in Kabbalah, there are three stages for the when you come in. So the first stage is your complete light because you don't know how to talk and you don't have a vessel yet. You're just with the light. And
Yes.
then the ego starts working. And so you want everything for yourself. You become egotistical. I want that, I want that, I want that. And then that stops working after a while. And then you go to the other extreme. You say, okay, I'm going to obliterate myself. I'm just going to be giving. You have a lot of people are people pleasing. And then they deplete themselves. And then the final vessel, which is the true vessel with the true light comes in, is when you love your neighbor as yourself. So you don't miss you, but whatever you want for yourself, you include the better good of all.
Absolutely. I love that, Kamala. I love it. I really play with it too. So, how
Mm.
does it get any better than that? And what else is possible now?
Everything is.
May the force be with you.
And
And
you,
your name, how people, if they're listening ever to this, they can see you, find you.
Ronny Hatchwell, well hatched. Facebook, YouTube. I'm around just Google. I'm in there and I can leave you my phone number if you like. And I'm really looking forward to doing something together and to, yeah, bring
Absolutely.
through us.
Kass Thomas with a K, Kass Thomas. And we can and will be here for anyone who has any questions. All right.
Thank you,
Thank
Cass. It
you.
was wonderful seeing you again.
There's my heart's
Oh,
beating. Ciao, darling.
oh.
Bye bye. And thank you, anyone and everyone, for listening. Yes, life can be.